Ah, shit. I was actually talking to my brother, Scott, who says he knows you, Scott
Yeah.
Brown. He says he knows you well. So that was cool. Because he was speaking to me at the end of the event, and he says, "Oh, bro, you did great." And he says, "Oh, I didn't realise Joe was in it." And I went, "All right." And he went, "Yeah, I know Joe well." And yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Small world. I wondered if you guys are related. It kind of makes sense now.
He's my younger brother, so I'm like the eldest of the brothers, the most kind of unfittest. So I've got a bit of catching up to beat those boys, you know.
Who's your brother? Who's your brother?
Scott Brown, you know, the top European at World's Toughest a few times.
Oh, cool. That's super cool. Hey, Joe, we're looking at like mostly your nose and your eyes. Can you lower the camera there?
There. Is the glare bad? I didn't polish.
Well, most folks are used to looking at. This is essentially a naked Joe Perry. For those that
Pants were optional, weren't they?
For those that don't know, Joe has done how many TMs?
I think it's 138 now.
138, and has painted his face and beautiful bald head differently each time. He's well known in the community for that. So seeing just his head, even yesterday, I have to be honest, was a bit odd for me.
Mm-hmm. I was in disguise.
And Kevin Brown, who has one of the most gorgeous Scottish accents I've ever heard in my life, and I have to avoid being an annoying American making fun of his accent for most of the call.
You did well. I only got it one time, so that was quite good.
Well, we just started recording. I did it a couple before. Yesterday, I just let it all out. I couldn't help myself. I think, Kevin, the truth is I'm just, even as a kid, I've just had this thing where, I mean, I think it's not unusual for Americans to be sort of fascinated by them. You know, we just like things that are different from us.
Yeah.
And so even as a kid, like, I understand that every English person thinks that every American person does a really horrible, you know, crikey, you know, whatever, that's Australian actually, you know, does a really bad version of accents, right?
Yeah.
Or makes the same stupid fucking jokes. I like to think that mine are slightly different and slightly better, but you can be honest. Is it equally as annoying as any American who's ever made fun of your accent?
No, we were listening to you doing it on the call, and I saw, is that your son that was listening in? And he was laughing as well, and I thought, I must admit, his dad's had a bit of practice. He's got this pretty close. So I just, every time someone says, "Kevin, your mic's on mute," I went, "Yeah, and it's going to stay there."
And I think
be as little as possible, and then he's not going to be on me.
Right. I think that was a smart move. So let's start with Joe. Did you didn't do either of the first two, right?
No. Now, it wasn't from a lack of not wanting to, but so a little background here. The beginning of the year, I was training hard. January and February, I was training really well because I was registered to go to Tokyo to get my 6th world major in. So I was all ready to go. We were going to leave in less than a week when this whole pandemic thing happened. So my Japan trip got canceled. But while I was still training here, I was going in for a run and something in my hip went pop. I heard a pop and I have no idea what happened. I couldn't go for treatment because of the pandemic. So I had a bad hip. For 9 weeks, I couldn't run. So I missed training in March and April. It wasn't until May I was running again. I was also registered I had 4 marathons registered for. One of them was a virtual one by the end of May. So after 4 weeks of training, I was able to run. So I wasn't able to run in April for that version. And then in May, I ran a marathon the day that you had your second one, right? So that's why I missed the first 2. 1, I couldn't run. And 2, I had a marathon that day.
So tell everybody.
The weather was so much better that day. Oh my God.
Tell everybody what the world majors are.
So yeah, there's 6 of them. There's Boston, Chicago, New York, Berlin, Tokyo, and did I say London?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've done them all except Tokyo.
Yeah. So I got in, like I didn't get into it's a really hard one to get into. So I didn't get in with the original lottery, but then in December, some spots opened up. So I gobbled that up and I was so excited as I could. So I had to accelerate my training because at that point I was just training for Boston. And it's like, oh, I got another one to do beforehand. So I was, again, January and February was phenomenal training. I was in great shape. I was ready to crush Tokyo, and then COVID crushed everybody.
And what's your best marathon time?
3:19.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Hello.
Had you done either of the previous races?
No, I follow the obstacle race media, social media stuff, and I watched when Mark crushed the first one and thought, holy shit, I'd really like a go at that, but I'm not ready for that. My training was good, but my training wasn't, and I hadn't ramped up my miles enough. Then I watched the second one. I saw Trevor and the girl, what's her name?
Devin.
The girl, Devin. Yep. Watched them, and I thought, right, if we do one more, I'm going for it. I'm going to ramp up the miles, and I am going all out. And then I saw number 3. I went, right, that's it. It's on. So yeah, I just got stuck into my training because of COVID, as Joe was talking about. All my training, I wasn't able to train with my race team. I was just basically solo runs from home all the time. Ramped up the miles and just got strong. And as the event kind of arrived, I thought, right, I'm good to go.
Yeah, you were pretty good to go. Yeah.
Well, what did you write to me a week ago? You wrote me a week ago, Kevin, and what did you say?
Is the race still on? I think because I was like, shit, have I ramped up all this training and is this still happening? Because I'm in the UK, I see you guys talk a lot about Spartan and all the different things, which is, so I'm like peaked for this event going, shit, what if something's happening? Maybe this isn't happening now. What am I going to do? And so I contacted you, Matt, and I was like, are we still good? We still good? And you're like, yeah, I've been distracted by something else. We're now all good.
I realized I did a really bad job promoting it this time. And, it was the smallest turnout to date, partly because, people have just been distracted. They're doing the Tough Mudder challenges now, et cetera, but also, I can take ownership that I did not do a good job of promoting it or spending a lot of time on it.
Did you notice it was also July?
I didn't notice until everyone was complaining and until my recent long runs have been getting more and more brutal. I posted a Strava recently and I put that time. It took me 3 hours to go 10 miles because it was like, I did a trail run and I just could not, when there's those times that you think you're going to run and then you walk and you're like, all right, I'm ready to run again. And then you're like, no, I'm not, but you're not going to quit. So you just kind of like, oh, this sucks. So yes, July is part of it. But it just very quickly happened. We were in April, the first one, and it was fine. And then we did the next one, 3 weeks later, and the people in Florida were really complaining, but nobody else did. And then it was like, oh, it's hot as balls. It's July. So listen, we got to talk a little bit about, something unfortunate that happened. And I know that people are going to ask, and, I gave you guys a heads up, ahead of time, is that we had to disqualify someone in the middle of the race. And, my goal for people listening is not to publicly shame someone and not to sort of belabor the point. But I think a lot of us, like people doing these High Rocks workouts, they're seeing people, with bad reps, and it's frustrating when you're trying to win. And I think I had to make the shift myself. If you guys, allow me to find what I'm saying here, I might ramble a little bit. We were very hung up in what is this person doing and how do we make sure? And then it wasn't until we finally did. And then I saw you guys and we don't have, oh, I'm sorry, the second place gentleman, I'm forgetting his name, Omar, on here right now. When I started seeing the work you're putting in, I'm like, well, that's what this is about. This is about rewarding the right people and rewarding the people that work their ass off. So it's not just about being mean to this guy, quote unquote, or shaming this guy, but it's about there's people working really hard. And so, that's essentially what's going on when you talk, Kevin, about the people who won it. If somebody's putting down times that Trevor put down and that Devin put down, but nobody's ever heard of them before, that's a red flag. Like, well, we would have heard of you if you could do this pace. Yes, somebody can work their ass off and improve, but that to me is sort of the first test, is like, okay, well, Trevor won World's Toughest Mudder twice and was podiumed like 6 times. So could this person do that in an 8-hour span? So, I was pretty certain almost right away. I was pretty certain after the first 2 laps, but I wanted to make sure I gave this person the benefit of the doubt, and then spent honestly the better part of the day looking into it. So there's me, there's Josh Reed, and there's Dario who looked into this, and it wasn't the entire day, but it was most of the day. Honestly, it was like, so I guess I don't know much more to say about it other than we wrote this person at 2:00 and said, we can't count your stats, and this person bowed out. But I guess I'd like to hear from you, from your side, what you thought, or because again, I don't want to just like, let's blast this fucking guy, but we can't not talk about it because everybody saw it. So I'll shut up now.
Kevin, you want to go first?
So for me, this was like probably the performance of my life. I gave the best run I've ever gave in my life. I've only been into this whole game a few years, so when the day started, I had a tactic which was start quite fast, get 3 or 4 laps on the board, then settle down into the middle, and then if I had to, finish strong. But what happened was I came in, and my wife and stuff had said, this guy in the front is blitzing it, and I'm saying, I've just went as fast as I can go. I can't go any further faster than that over 12 hours. I'll burn, I'll crash. So I just kind of decided to switch off from him. I decided that if he was going to go that sort of pace, today wasn't my day, and kind of reminded myself winning it wasn't the goal, hitting a mile target was the goal. So he was, I think I got maybe 4 or 5 laps in, and I was lap 4, he was 2 laps in front of me. I thought, shit, this guy's good. He is so fast. I'm not going to catch him. And then it was a couple of laps later, and I don't know what I like to think that maybe I had held my own, but I think the reality probably is that someone's maybe had that conversation with him or something, because the gap slowed up, and then I was able to get past him. I didn't know what he was doing. In my mind, he was still in the race. I didn't know. So for me, he was still, if he was going to come back out and turn in more of those times, I was going to be hunted. So I just kind of tried to stay ahead, but something wasn't adding up in my head as to how can this guy turn out these times over 12 hours? Because I think, as I was saying to you guys, I watched the first 2 events. I kind of knew what pace. You look at Mark and Trevor, Levin, stuff. These guys are, they're top, right? If you're matching them, you're in with an absolute animal. And I kind of thought as well, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, with the term world, you have to be a world-class athlete to put down what were 32, 34-minute laps for 8 laps.
Yeah, well, I was certainly 36, 37 from my first couple, and that was me really, really going at it hard, knowing that after 3 or 4, I was going to slow considerably, and that's kind of what happened. And then Omar appeared on the rankings later to be quite close in terms of laps, but way off in terms of time. So that kind of threw me as well. So I then went some fast laps at the end. But obviously by I hadn't actually noticed the communication that came to my email just to say there is a problem. I didn't actually get that till after the event. But, you know, I guess I was just in the zone where just race, just keep on racing, keep on going back out. But as I said to you, Matt, it makes it a bit more sweeter knowing that you beat a cheat. You know what? I'm saying it. I beat a guy who wasn't playing by the rules, and that makes it a little bit sweeter. It's just a shame. I mean, I had family coming in and they were looking at you guys in terms of the Zoom and looking at what I was having to do every lap in terms of the admin, and they were all going, "Holy shit, this is good. This is good. These guys do all this." And I went, "Well, they can't sell it if they don't. It's going to hold up." I went, "So look at the way they're doing it. You've got to send in your screenshot, your elapsed time. I mean, you pulled me on a lap and went, Kev, you've entered the wrong one. You've got to put in your Strava link. You've got to do all this stuff so the playing field's it's flat." So there was no way you're going to get away with that without someone going, "Right, let's get a look at this guy."
Do you want to say anything, Joe?
Yeah, I actually, you might laugh because I was completely oblivious. I didn't have the leaderboard up at all. I didn't know I came in third until about midnight when I looked, because I didn't know where I was. I had no clue. I just knew 50 miles didn't seem high compared to previous results. Now I know the weather was not like it was in previous, so I had no clue where I was at. I didn't know who was in first. I during the Zoom things, I was hearing voices and talking, but I didn't know who was first. I didn't think I was anywhere close. I was hoping to maybe top 20. So I was really surprised when I found I did well. Now, on the topic of cheating, this is something that when we go in our long runs, we go Saturday morning long runs with a bunch of guys, and it's a common topic. We get talking about cheating. I don't know if you follow Derek Murphy.
Oh, yeah, of course. I had him on the show.
Oh, did you? Oh, cool. Yeah. And
Come on, Joe. Listen to my damn podcast.
Yeah. So we talk about the latest Derek Murphy, person that he's exposed. And it's like, we're running and we're shaking our heads like, why these people, why do they cheat? What do they get out of it? I mean, why we can't put wrap our brains around the motivation. Like it started with that guy that cheated to get into Boston, right? Remember that story where he wanted to take his kids out of school to take them to Boston because he qualified finally, and the teachers wouldn't let him take his kids out of school. And so he wrote this letter saying, "Oh, this isn't right. This is an educational trip for him," and whatever. So he had a lot of runners on the side saying, "Yeah, it's a big deal to show your kids the Boston experience." And then it turns out this guy ran a marathon like 45 minutes faster than any other marathon he ever ran. So, and they looked, and there was pictures of him at the start and the finish, but missing in the middle. So people eventually exposed him as being a cheat. And it's like, why? What drives you to do that? Like for this, I mean, for our race here, I mean, Kevin, we put a lot of work into it, but it's self, like it's good to know that we did that, we earned that. So to do something without earning it, like, why? What do you have to gain from that?
And I want to say it's the work Derek does. And I really want to have him on again because the amount of time we spent, again, you're talking hours, you're talking 3 different heads. And, there's just, again, so people kind of know, the initial question is, like, who is this person and does it look like they can do it? Like, does it even look like they can do it? Like, that's that's one piece of data. Yeah. Now we go to other races. Has this person ever put up this kind of performance? Another piece of data. Now we go to just regular Strava runs. Has this person put up this kind of performance? Now let's look at the actual data. Let's look at the GPX files. Is there something off with the cadence? Is there something off with the speed? Like, you got to understand how hard we looked. And this is what I want to bring up because I specifically want to talk to you about this, Joe, in the Tough Mudder community. So a couple years ago, there was a fucking massive shitstorm over someone who got 50 miles who people think didn't deserve it. And again, not going to mention names, ask your friends, do the research, whatever, because it's not about like, let's light people on fire. And I was one of those people that did want to light people on fire, right? Because we all worked hard for our 50, and why should this person get to do this? And they handled it. And they said, we handled it. And they're like, no, why didn't you like publicly shame them? And I had a conversation a year later with Eli and Nolan that was, you know, the community wanted us to deliver this person like with their head on a stick. And I wasn't going to do that. Like, basically, fuck you. I don't owe you anything. They didn't say fuck you to me, but I was like, oh, that I kind of get that. Like my friend Keith Allen, who I love, wanted this person delivered on a platter to the community. Here, look what we did. And it's not a good feeling. It's not fun, you know, because trust me, I was like, even with all the data, it was like, am I sure this person did it? Maybe they did have the best day of their life. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure. Yep. And only when I contacted this person, I sent a well-written email and they didn't write back and they bat out of the race. I was okay. Like, and again, then seeing you guys finish really made it for me. Like, watching you guys finish, seeing you're dead and being like, okay, we did the right thing. But I really do have compassion for these races when they have to do this, because it seems so fun, right? Like, we get this joy as a spectator, like, oh, we fucking caught you, but it's not fun. Hey there.
Hi, Matt.
How's it going?
I got two heads.
It's good.
Did he said he stumbled to the barn.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he didn't go to bed last night because he'd have to go upstairs. So I had the bed to myself. It was awesome.
Yeah, I haven't run that hard in a long time, where you can't really.
How do you
how do your feet do? Do you need to switch shoes because your feet expand towards the end?
I made a mistake. I hopped in the pool and got my feet wet, and I didn't change my shoes. So at the end of my 8th lap, I was like, ooh, not so good. They had some wrinkly toes. I thought it was going to be blistered, but I was able to change my socks and shoes and get 2 more out of that somehow. But yeah, it was.
Lesson learned.
As if you didn't learn from the previous like 10 years of racing or however long you've been racing.
I'm slow. I'm really slow.
Dude, I go out for my training runs, right? And I'm starting to do like, you know, 8s and 10s midweek because I'm in marathon training right now. And I know how long it takes me, and yet like I'll go without water or go without nutrition. And then like it'll be like I'll be out there for a little over an hour and be like, why didn't I pack food? Like, I've only been doing this for 10 years. You think I would remember to like stick a fucking goo in my pocket?
Mm-hmm. I was cramping pretty bad on my last lap, and I always run with mustard because, you know, that's the cure for cramping. And I didn't have any mustards packed with me for whatever reason. So
right, but at least you're going back home and you can grab something.
Exactly. Yeah. If I had been out in the middle of nowhere, yeah, I'd still be out in the middle of nowhere right now.
So let's talk about loops. I mean, obviously I can go check, but same loop, different loops. What did you guys do? Kevin, what did you do for what was your plan?
So for the last 3 weeks, I've practiced different loops from house. So basically different routes. So I had about 5 different routes that I could go just to mix it up in my head. So I wasn't just going, oh my God, same route again. So I had maybe about 3 out and back, 2.5 out and back sort of thing, and then another couple of loops. So I just kept changing it throughout the 12 hours.
And what about you, Joe?
I did the same one. Now I live out in the country, gravel road. I have a farm here, so I was able to run back and forth. I went up the road, down the road, up the road, down the road several times. But the beauty of that is I could have water stations or goo stations along the road. So
look at you!
Yeah, and the barn's right in the middle. So I mean, I'm really lucky to where I'm at, and like we're gonna. So
you're running. I can see you're running along the river here.
Yep. So
can you jump into the river?
No, but we have a pool. I was able to go in the pool a couple times. I'm actually hosting an Ontario version of the toughest coming up in August. So we'll be running that same route. And we don't know what Kyle has in mind. So I've dug steps down to the river in case we have to get wet. So that's a possibility.
Sorry, my son is coming and looking for another laptop. Check our bedroom, dude. Oh, that sounds fun. Is that an open invite?
We just moved to stage 3 on Friday.
Okay, so no.
Our numbers have opened up now a little bit. So I think there's 25-ish people coming from just Ontario so far. So it seems like, oh, can my friend come? It's like, yeah, all right, sure, why not?
So you are just over the border there. I'm looking at the map here.
Yeah, I'm about a 20-minute drive to a ferry to cross Lake or St. Clair River into Michigan.
But they're not letting you do that right now, right?
Borders are closed.
So if you sneak up to the border, is it a very nice Canadian Mountie that's like, go back where you came, eh? Pretty much.
Get back on your moose and go home.
Moose is the front. Should have told you it's closed. So yeah, there's something as monotonous as it gets. I know from World's Toughest, like there's something also that's like very zen about the same lap, right? Like here comes this obstacle, here comes this thing, right? Even though you kind of hate it, like, oh fuck, I got to do turducken again, right? Or whatever it is. You just, the beauty of the simplicity of it can be, you know. But I'm the same way. I like when I go for runs, like a lot of times I'll go for out and backs. Let's say it's a 10 miler, and at mile 5, I'm like, I just don't feel like turning around, and so I'll just fucking keep going and then Uber back because it's just more fun.
Kevin, what were your temperatures there?
Well, here's the we were talking about this this morning, my wife and I. So yesterday was quite a good day, but it was nowhere near the kind of temperatures that you guys were seeing. I guess Scotland is the kind of giveaway, but the bit that kind of evened it out a little bit was I had been up from 4 a.m. and the event didn't start till 1 p.m. for me. So I was like trying to kind of level out in my head, right? These guys have got it warmer. I'm going to be basically awake longer. I was just trying to kind of look at the advantages and disadvantages and everything. So we had quite a warm day. It was actually quite a warm evening. By the time my nighttime loops, I was just running about the streets in the dark, and I was meeting people who were coming out bars, and they were like, what is this crackpot doing? You know, where is he going? Why is he out here running when we're all out drinking? You know, it was a bit surreal, but it was really good.
So you started what, like 1300, like 1 p.m.?
Yeah, 1 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Right.
Huh.
So it was a very long morning. I got up, it was a really early rise. I was downstairs like, shit, I've got such a long day. And then I was sitting there checking. I wonder what time the Zoom starts. I'm like, what, 15 minutes? I'm like, ah. So, yeah, I had to kind of wait, walk the dogs, try to just keep the head busy. And then 1 p.m. finally came. I was like, right, let's go. And then it got through to like midnight. And I was like, shit, man, when will this end? So, yeah, it was quite strange seeing people like drunken walking home from the bars in town, and I'm running past them with the shorts on.
Right. Yeah, the Aussies started in the middle of the night, and there was a bunch of them last time. There was like, I feel like a dozen of them, like starting at I'm bad at math, but like I think 10 at night or 7. I can't remember how many hours they're ahead at night, but basically they run all night, which is like, you know, basically like a toughest, which, you know, it's a whole nother animal. It's why people line up so early at World's Toughest. Like you can't get on site until whatever time. It doesn't matter. We're up, we're out of the hotel. We're like ready to fucking go. So do you guys think we're going to race at all this year? Like, are they eventually going to, do you guys have any fall races that you might be registered for?
That for me, my big my kind of main goal this year was to kind of do well in a Spartan Ultra Beast. So that was the last one that I hadn't done. So before kind of lockdown, I was, you know, things were going well. I was really hopeful of a good finish. And the one Ultra Beast in the UK is Scotland. So, well, it certainly had been. I don't know if it's changed at all, but that was the last race to get cancelled. It was due to happen mid-September. And I was like, please don't cancel this, especially, obviously, I was training well for this. Please don't cancel this. You know, I would take in some good miles, good form, but it got cancelled. So that's really everything gone for me. They are talking about some races here in the UK towards the end of the year, but, you know, like, if I put on my work head on, so health and safety sort of background, I kind of just don't see it. I don't see them how the like insurances and things like that are going to get round it. I want to race, but I kind of think these organisations must be really up against it, trying to get these events on, and they're getting pressures from probably all sorts of kind of legal aspects. So hopefully there might be some stuff at the end of the year here, but it's not looking. It's not looking good.
What is your background, Kevin?
Health and safety manager. So yeah, do sensible things in work, do crazy things out work. It's kind of how it flows.
But can you be more specific? Like, what does that mean, health and safety manager?
So basically, kind of keeping people safe at work, making sure things are done safely. Work in a large chemical plant, so making sure it's a big dangerous site. So making sure that things go smoothly.
So is it like? Do you know what OSHA is?
So, yeah, is that the American version?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like it.
Yep, same sort of thing. So I kind of would be the equivalent here in the UK.
Would you like me to send you one of these?
Yeah, that looks good. That looks good.
So safety is in fact your number one priority?
In work.
And work.
Yeah, in work.
All right.
Then we do these crazy obstacle races and these crazy endurance events where you're just running about mad and folk go, health and safety?
Right. Well, I think...
Matt, are you doing the virtual Boston?
So here's the thing about that. I have no interest in it. I want to do fucking Boston, right? Like, I raised money. I was more than halfway to my goal. It's a big deal, right? Joe, you know, right? I'm not fast enough to get in. And in April, I thought, well, they're going to just move it to next April, and I'm fine with that, right? They move it to September, and I go, okay, cool. I moved my flight. Javier was going to pick me up. He was going to be my little crew, and we were going to stay together at an Airbnb close to the start, and then hang out afterwards with like Mike and Caitlin. Whole plan, right? Then they say it's canceled. And unlike a lot of the marathons that just rolled you over, like Chicago is like, you can do it next year, you can do it 2022, you can do it 2023. Like, a lot of the marathons are being flexible. Boston's like, nope, start over, 0, period. And those of us that are in a money raising group, they were like, we don't know what's going to happen. They just kept telling us, and I was being patient, right? They're really communicative, but they waited and waited and waited, and they said, oh, well, there's a virtual one you can do. And I'm like, well, can I get if I do the virtual one, do I still get my money back? Because it's $380 or whatever. It's like, yeah, you can do both. We'll automatically sign you up. So they did that. They gave me my money back. They automatically signed me up. And I've got a 50K in October, and that's going to be, I think, I think I can use that as my virtual mileage. And if not, I'll pick another fucking day, whatever, to do the long run, whatever. But I don't really care. Like, I don't want a special commemorative virtual Boston. I want to do Boston. And the only way for me to get back in to the same group, by the way, is to finish raising the 10 grand, right? And then I'm eligible to raise money for next year. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to raise. This was kind of a bucket list thing for me.
Yep.
And I'm not, it's hard for me to go after, because they said they're not, usually they penalize you. If you don't raise the money, they take it from you. If you're supposed to raise 10 and you collect 7, like, you're signing on the dotted line that you're going to pay 3, which is a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. So they're saying I'm not on the hook for the 3. They're going to take the money that I have. But yeah, I think, I'm not going to say never now, but maybe 5 years from now, I'll try to raise money again for Boston. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. It's a tough call. I know a lot of people going, and some are doing it, some are not. And for me, I got a void. After toughest in August, I've got nothing until Worlds virtual too. So I'll squeeze in. It's what, 2 weeks after the toughest, something like that. 2 to 3 weeks. We have a week window to get that Boston run in.
I mean, I'm also understanding though. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people that writes a letter and complains. It's like, we're in a worldwide pandemic. Like, shit's like, I don't know why they can't defer like everybody else did, right? But it's just not how they decided to do it. Something, I'm sure if I talk to somebody, they have some reason behind their finances, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
But I didn't even know, Joe, that, like, I knew about the majors, like you hear them called that, but I didn't know it's actually, like, it's called like the Abbott's majors and you can get special medals and stuff.
Yep. So after you finish your 6th major, they'll be waiting for you at the finish line because you wear a special something to identify you. And when you cross the line, you get the medal for doing that race. Plus, they give you the big one to say that you just finished your 6th world major. So
That's
I had another friend.
cool.
We both get our thing together, and nope. Now we had the same options. Like, do you defer to 2021 or 2022? And at the time, we had to decide right away. It's like, is the world gonna be ready in March 2021? Or so I'm feeling better and better about deferring to 2022 because I don't know, things might not be back to normal.
And what is your regular life? What are you doing when you're not training?
What am I doing?
Are you a farmer?
No, I own a farm, but I'm an internet service provider, so I hook people up to the internet. So I've been doing that since '95. You know, we went big. We went with 33.6K modems back in the day. So needless to say, the internet.
So wait a minute, you are the service, or you connect people to the service?
Well, I own a company and we hook people up to the internet.
But is it like Joe's internet service provider?
Yeah, well, I put a different name on it, but yeah, it's the kind of thing. Yeah.
We
have a small town and a lot of people nearby use me for their internet.
So do you get calls at 2 a.m. if it goes down?
I used to, but now I don't answer the phone. So
Good idea. Smart move.
Yeah. A lot of years of me being tech support round the clock.
So now they just suffer and bitch?
Yeah. Or the bitch is somebody else.
Right. So is it kind of like, have you seen that Portlandia where he starts his own cell phone company?
So we had to do rural, because we're a lot of country people out here. So I was climbing grain elevator bins and silos, stringing cables up and mounting stuff year round. Like, so it's winter and cold and hot. And so I did a lot of training as I'm working, you know. I mean, that was a pretty good workout climbing. Pulling those cables back, it's a lot of work.
So you may not get calls anymore, but if you show up to the local, do you have a local general store or a local seed and feed, and they bug you and they go, "Hey, Joe, my email's not working," or "How do I get on this TikTok?" Do you get that?
Oh yeah. I'm tech support regardless. If I am in the grocery store and like, yeah, I'm having trouble, it's like, what do you want me to do about it now? I don't know.
But you're a really nice guy because you're Canadian. How do you handle?
Well, we apologize. Right?
Can't hear you, Matt.
Oh, there.
That's it.
Okay.
Me all the time. Oh, shit. Hang on.
You're like a mime right now. Just kind of.
Matt's about to destroy his mic.
Yes.
What now? Is it working now? Is it working now?
Yeah.
I can't tell if Joe is saying yes. Give me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was saying I can put out 3 articles in a row about Tough Mudder, and then I get 10 DMs like, "What's going on with Tough Mudder?" And I'm like, "I just wrote 10 articles. Like, go read them." Or I read your article, but don't you know more? And it's really annoying. And I'm not very apologetic. I'm not as nice as you, so I don't know how you would deal with all these people constantly bugging you about their internet provider. You just say sorry.
That's just like that.
Like, get life. Turn your computer off. Go for a run.
That's great. That's what they should do. That's what like people at Xfinity and Sprint should do. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry you're having trouble. You know what? Use this as a sign from the universe. Turn your shit off. Go for a run.
Then we could all keep up with Kevin then, right?
So are you guys, Kevin, are you signed up for Toughest or Virtual Toughest or Virtual World's Toughest? I can't keep them straight, to be honest.
Yeah, I've had a few messages because the whole world's toughest thing, and so that's always been my brother's event. He's, it's been his background, and he's done tremendous. So I've always been the older, unfitter brother. I'm quite new to this, so I've got a few people saying, "Why don't you give it a go?" this morning. The virtual thing, I did enjoy the virtual thing. So the toughest, the one coming up, again, same sort of format from the house, set up a good pit with my wife helping me and stuff. I feel I've got the legs for it now. So, maybe have another little go, and just to keep the head busy, give me something to do. I guess the way the world is just now, just having a little focus is good. It's good to have something.
And what year were you born, Kev?
78, 42 tomorrow.
Dude, happy
Tomorrow.
birthday. Joe Perry, what year were you born?
1969.
Yeah.
Dudes walking on the moon. So,
Dude, I love it, man. The old guys are on the podium. That's a great job. I was born in 72, so I'm right between both of you. But I look considerably younger than both of you. Let's just be honest. Look at all those gray hair, Kevin.
you see any gray hairs here?
I asked my wife how percentage-wise, and she said 50. I said, what do you mean 50? My hair is not 50% gray. What's that, like 10? What do you think?
Ooh.
Is that a filter you have on there?
There's no filter. This is my actual real. I mean, the hairline is creeping, but I still got, for the most part.
So I was saying, Matt, I'm sitting with my wife when the event was finished last night, and I'm sitting there, feeling pretty good, and I'm turned around and I went, 65 miles, no bad for a 42-year-old, and she's like, yeah. So I was pleased about that. That was good.
Mm-hmm. So no more saying you're old, Kevin. You're not allowed to.
No more. Your mic's away, Matt.
Oh.
That's it, I think. Maybe. No. I just read his lips there, and
That's right.
what the?
Was he calling that you or me? I don't know.
I don't know. It's as if there's a cable loose or something. It just there's a little bit of interference and it goes muted.
I don't know.
All right, how about now?
Oh, there you
That's
go.
the
Hi.
This is the less good mic. This is the headphones. I said, are you in a biker gang? Because you have all the cool tats. You in a motorcycle?
No, everyone has a vice. So I guess that's mine. So I've just, a little obsession with ink over the years. I probably should have bought some crayons or something rather than get ink on me. So yeah, I've went
maybe you could talk to Joe. Joe does a lot of temporary, and then he lives with it. Then he gets rid of it.
Yeah, I can change it up.
I was telling Joe when I come on the call, I've never spoke with Joe. I was out at Atlanta for World's Toughest, but I've never actually spoke with Joe. But Scott was saying to us, "Oh, my mate Joe, I saw he's in your race," and I was like, "Who?" He went, "Do you remember the guy that always had his face painted?" I went, "Yeah, I remember him." He went, "That's who it is."
Which did you indulge in any of our fine American fare when you were in Georgia? Did you go to the Waffle House?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah. We went to the Waffle House. We made almost one major error. We went to a restaurant. Oh, I can't remember. On the night before, we went to this restaurant and we thought, right, let's get some carbs and let's do this. So Scott and I, we ordered our dinner, but Scott's dinner was a little more risky. So this thing came out and it like pasta and kind of prawns and stuff, and there's like this pool of what looked like water at the bottom of the bowl, and Scott's going, this is like the night before, and I'm going, shit, bro, I don't know if you should be eating that. I went, that looks something's alive in that bowl. So Scott's eating this, and then later on he's going. I went, oh no, I don't believe this. But thankfully it never came to anything. But after the event, we went and found a good Waffle House, and we had everything. You name it, it was on the plate. It was good.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. And I'm going to put this out right away. I think people will be excited to hear from you. You know, not a lot of races going on. So it's Sunday. So, you know, why not, right?
Sure.
Yep. Thanks very much for having us. It's been a good race for me. So yeah, I'm over the moon. So it's been good to get to speak with you guys and race with you. So it's good.
It was fucking great.
There he is.
All right. See you guys.
You were doing so well.
What's that?
You were doing so well.
I know I couldn't help it. All right, wait, let's do one screenshot. Hang on. We'll do one screenshot. Hang on. Perfect. All right. Have a great day, you guys.